Howdy. So, now we're talking about how cells divide. Um, this entire unit is growth and reproduction, and the way an organism grows and reproduces is through cells dividing. So you start off with one cell, and at the end you've got two, or as we'll see in meiosis, four. All right. So what's the point? By the end of this, you'll be able to describe the two types of cellular division. You don't need a lot of detail on this. You just need to know pretty much the diagram we put up there, as well as the things that are written on the board here. You also want to be able to explain the purposes of both types of cellular division, because there are two types we're going to look at, and they have two different purposes. So, mitosis and meiosis. Let's have a quick look, see if we notice anything different. First off, here we have one cell being broken into two. Bit of vocab here. Parent cell is the cell you start off with. Daughter cells are the cells that you end up with. And here we have one cell, which turns into four cells. But what you'll notice is this one here has four of these little strands of DNA. There it's got 8, and there are 4 again. Here we've got 4 strands of DNA, but at the end, we end up with 2. And that's really interesting. That's really important. So mitosis, we'll talk about that first. The parent cell, or the original cell, divides to create 2 separate daughter cells that are identical. In other words, they have the same DNA, the same genes. Everything is the same as this cell here. So these two are the same as that. Meiosis is a bit different. The parent cell divides to create 4 separate daughter cells that have half of the DNA they need to survive. In other words, here it's got 4 bits of DNA, and each of these has 2. It has half of the DNA it needs to survive. These will join with, so this one here will join up with another cell to create a new non-identical organism. All right, so a new non-identical organism. And I'll just bring our pen back up so when we're looking at the white cells here, it doesn't disappear in the DNA, it doesn't disappear in the background, the mouse. So this one here needs to join up with another one, preferably one that's not as related, and it will create a new non-identical organism. Now these ones here, if this was a bacterial cell, you would have two new organisms, because they're only unicellular, 2 new organisms, and they would be identical. So the point of mitosis is for multicellular organisms, is growth and repair of an organism, or reproduction for unicellulars. So mitosis grows new tissue, so this is growth, so you start off with a small amount of muscle, and then after one growth cycle it can double, or it replaces damaged cells, and this is repair. So if you get a cut, or you bleed too much, you need to make more blood, it is mitosis which is used to replace damaged cells, okay? And it produces all of your cells except for sex cells. Now, the fact that it replaces damaged cells or it's used for growth is why it needs to make identical cells. You can't have random cells growing with different DNA. That's actually one of the things which leads to cancer. Meiosis, on the other hand, is the creation of sex cells. In this case, sperm and eggs, or ovum. So sperm and eggs. These are used by doing these, we create non-identical offspring. You are not the same as either your mother or your father. You are half of each, exactly half of each. And that's because here, you see that you have exactly half DNA, and here's the egg and here's the sperm, and they join together to create a new organism. And for children, or for humans, that's a new you, which means it can't be identical to the parent. So this is where we get sex cells, so sperm and eggs. That was nice and simple. We'll have lots of questions in class. Don't forget to ask one in the form, and we'll see you there.